What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We're living like this could be our final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our own way.
Morning guys. Today we're off to Palau Durham, I think it's called. It's towards Misool we're headed. So, and I've got some little friends with me, which you should check out because they're super cute. Hey guys! So I was sitting at the helm station giving the captain a bit of a break this morning because he was tired, and just sitting there daydreaming, and I look off to my side and I thought it was a tuna at first because they're quite small, but yeah, they were trying to get my attention. So they've been here for probably a good half hour, 45 minutes just hanging out with us, so always brightens your day when the sea life comes to say hello.
These little guys. I've never seen dolphins this small before, and there's so many of them. Church is out here talking to all of her little friends. This is Palau Durham, however you want to pronounce it.
Oh, is this where we were going to stop?
Yeah, just the next bay. So I mean, look, it's up to you. If you want to stop, we can stop. If you want to push on, we can keep going. This is quite pretty.
I'm pretty happy to push on and catch up to these guys.
I can already see the sort of islands. See
Yeah.
the distance there?
Yeah.
And it's sort of, at the moment, distance-wise, is the equivalent to like from where we used to live, Scarborough to Morton.
Yeah, it's nothing.
2.5 hours. So we may as well push on.
Take a look at this spectacular landscape.
What a weapon! Thing is sick.
Oh.
That's what that's panisi, isn't it?
I think that's what Dave said they were. What they're called. In Vietnam they call it junk.
Yeah, we just put the hammer down. I reckon they were going to come in here. We just ruined it for them.
Sorry guys. Snooze you lose. Mates, wild ones, legends. Oh, look at this magnificent spot. Coral reef surrounding all of these cliffs. Right up. Coral reef, and the reef goes down like 20 meters. So it's a really good spot for scuba divers. Our first expedition was to explore a cave with our friends on Wild One. Access to the cave was through this beautiful calm lagoon. A short ladder climb after tying up the dinghy, and a short walk to the cave's entrance. You can see where they got the idea for cathedrals from caves, hey? Local residents were these blind cave crabs.
3 of them.
And bats, of course.
Oh man, it just keeps going.
It was quite the adventure crawling through dark tunnels.
Watch your head. Come out of the way so everyone else can get through. Watch your head, love. Sure.
Dave suggested that we turn our torches out.
Yeah, see what it's like. Ready? You guys ready? I will. 1, 2, 3. Oh, gross.
It was teamwork navigating our way around the cave.
Put it on my hand.
Thank you.
Climbing expert, aren't you?
These hands have touched cat poo, I'm sure.
Actually, you probably don't want to touch them.
Man, this cave just keeps going.
Tiny, surprisingly. I thought it would be cool.
I don't think I've ever seen you sweat, love.
It's a little bit moist.
Maybe on our wedding day.
I want to go there. Nah.
Peanut butter.
Brody's off to his bedroom. It looks like Jenna's going down to a room, doesn't it? Like a cellar.
There's another one snapped off.
We made it to the other side, but lo and behold, it was the same entrance that we came in on.
Which one's the other side? Because I never noticed where you loop across.
I literally just got into on the exact same place. I thought we might have been like 10 to 20 metres away.
No, so there's like a little, you know where
I was in the army.
Here you go down. It's the ultimate cave.
That's
You know, you
incredible.
just do
It's
one big
incredible.
leap and come
That is
out.
incredible. It's not what I was expecting. I thought we got to that one spot there. I was like, yeah, that's it. I was like, yeah, well, that was fun. That was unreal, eh? No, blew my mind that we came out at the same spot. Things we do for a good photo.
It was such a windy day, and we sure did notice it up the top. The view was definitely worth it.
Beautiful, pristine, protected national park. Just lovely. Yep. Same old, same old. Everywhere you go, doesn't matter how remote. Yep, right there.
Single-use cups of water they have with a plastic film over, and then they put a straw in it. So every time they drink a glass of water, they could have 8 of these a day, because that's the recommended daily intake, right? So 8 of those a day per Indonesian gets thrown in the water. Think about that.
Yep.
Do the math.
And they do. Look at them all. They're everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. These exact same things. Single-use plastic cups. Oh man, what do you do? You know, we've seen those ocean cleanup guys that are working on cleaning up the big plastic patch in the middle of the Pacific, and they're doing a fantastic job, but they're fighting an uphill battle when you've got countries like this who just literally dispose of all of their rubbish straight into the ocean. Oh.
Misool was such a beautiful place, but sadly our time here was cut short. Stay tuned and Brendan will tell you why.
Morning. I was going to try and record something yesterday after we had a little bit of an incident with some people. I was a little bit pissed off. It was probably a good thing because the GoPro went flat just as I was trying to describe what happened. One thing that we've noticed, right, we've only been in Indonesia 2 months now, and one thing that a lot of the sailing channels and YouTube channels fail to portray or talk about is the constant attempt at bribery. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's just the area that we're in, because we're in, you know, the far eastern side of Indonesia near West Papua, and it's a lot more remote. But you know, we read a lot before we came over here and did a lot of research, and not many people really warn you about the things that they should be warning you about with regards to, you know, boats turning up in the middle of the night and men just boarding your boat, coming on and telling you that you've got to pay them an anchoring fee because you're in front of their village, or you know that they're a ranger or they're a military or something, and then all of a sudden you've got to give them money. And it's honestly just a constant battle with these guys. For example, yesterday, you know, on a map, we have a look at it, or we'll put a little thing up shortly, but we've just sailed from, you know, southeastern Indonesia, which is, you know, your Tuals and Somlakis and whatnot, and we're actually on our way to Raja AMPAT. We're actually part of there now, but up towards Sarong and then Wayag and the islands in the north. Now, Raja AMPAT is an all-encompassing national park, right, which encompasses Misool and you know, all these islands to the north of us, and it requires a national park pass, which we know about, we knew about. Anyway, when we left Tual, we asked, oh, can we get a Raja AMPAT pass? No, you got to get one in Sarong. All right, no worries. So we tried again in Fact. So can we please get one? We tried Immigrasi, we tried getting online to the national park and trying to buy one online, and they all just kept saying you got to get it in Sarong. So we left Fact, and Misool, which is where we were yesterday, the Bat Cave and all that sort of stuff, it's directly en route, and if you weren't to stop here, it'd be a couple of 100 miles of sailing to get from Fact to Sarong. Now, that's not a problem. That's really not a problem, the distance, because we've done it all before, and we all, you know, we actually don't mind it. You can't sail at night here. You just can't do it because there are fishing nets everywhere. There's fads, there's long boats with lines out. You just cannot do it. And up this west coast here, up the east coast, sorry, the western side of Papua is just these massive rivers and tributaries which flood these enormous logs. Like, I can't even describe to you how big these logs are. So the idea of sailing at night is just terrifying with the logs and the fads and the fishing. So you've got to break it up. Anyway, we left Fact and we came into Misool, which was, I think, about 80 miles. That's a fair lump of a leg to try and do just during daylight hours. We made it in, and then the weather just turned horrendous. Like, we had 35 knots yesterday, big seas and just nasty stuff. So we decided to stay in that anchorage and wait for the weather to pass and head off. We were approached yesterday afternoon by 2 fishermen asking us for a national park pass. I said, look buddy, we can't get one, we haven't got one, we're leaving tomorrow, we're going to go straight to Sarong and buy one, rah. He was cranky or mad, and then left. About 2 hours later, a boat turns up with a ranger on board and 7 big burly looking fellas who were quite pissed off and all yelling at us, right? They all wanted to board the boat. I refused. I let one guy on board. He was a ranger apparently for this area, and he's checking the national park pass. I said, look, I understand we haven't got one, mate. I said, but it's too dangerous for us to go out. We are leaving tomorrow. We're going to go straight to Sarong and buy one. And he just kept reiterating to me that there was a big problem. There's a massive problem, and we're in big trouble and rah. I said, look, I get it, mate. If you can sell us a national park pass, I'll buy it. And he goes, yes, I can. It'll be 4 million rupee, which is about $400 Australian. I said, that's okay, because that's what the tickets are. I said, can you give me the tickets? He said, no. I said, all right, well, do you have FPOS? No. So he wanted cash right there and then, right? That's alarm bells. I said, look, I'm not giving you that cash if I can't get the national park pass. I won't do it. It's because I don't know who you are. And he kept showing me this little card that says he's an official, and it meant nothing. Then they all started getting pretty angry. And it got to the point where I just kept repeating myself. So, look, mate, I know what you guys are doing is a good thing. I know that the money goes to the national parks and you guys are looking after the place. I get it, I get it. I said, I've tried so hard to buy one, but we can't. We just cannot get one until we get to Sarong. I said, we'll buy one as soon as we get there, which we will. We've always had every intention of paying for it. And they just kept going and going, and it's a big problem. You need to pay now. And then they tried to charge us $1 million rupee per day for the time that we've been here. All right, so we're starting to get a little bit nervous, and these guys, and it got to the point where I actually had to physically stand up and yell and slam our big book down and said, right, we're leaving right now. I said, but the wind's shifted. Hang on, I'll start this again. Sorry, that's all sorted now. Sounds like Indonesia, hey? Like a, what is it? That was at about 120-degree wind shift. Anyway, so yeah, it took me slamming our book down and yelling at this guy saying, right, we'll leave, but you're putting my family in danger by sending us out now, and yada yada yada. And he kept asking about a dive compressor. He's like, you've got a dive compressor, you've got it. I said, we don't have a dive compressor. And they just kept banging on about this compressor and how we had to pay and this and that and rah rah. Anyway, Dave and Kathy from Wild One could hear it getting heated. They came over and sort of interjected. Kathy's a real cool head. She's quite calm, so, you know, she helped out. And then a big Panisi came around the corner, which is like the charter longboats, the big ones here for the tourists. And this guy went, okay, no problem, all good, and then left. They just bailed. So we watched them, and they've gone over to the big charter boat, and you know, you could see them all doing this and that and rah rah, and then all of a sudden they offloaded what seemed to be like 10 to 15 scuba tanks. So the only thing I can deduct from that is that they were trying to scare us into thinking we haven't paid. So what they really wanted was their tanks filled for a resort, and then they told us at the end that they work for a resort, rah rah, they're not a ranger, blah blah blah. So I think what they wanted was they desperately wanted their tanks filled, and they were trying to put the wind up us or scare us or either get money out of us or get the tanks filled. But this is the sort of shit that we're actually having to deal with on a regular basis over here. And I read a lot of blogs and everything saying, oh, you know, the Indonesian people make this country. That's what makes Indonesia. It's the people. No, I agree. 50% of them. 50% of the people over here are just spectacular. They're beautiful people. They just want to talk, and they want to look at you, and they just want to chat. The other 50% are flat out trying to rob you. Like, they are just dead set after your money. They want to make you feel like shit. Everywhere you go, there's someone putting their hand out or trying to tell you that you owe them this or you owe them that, and they'll board your boat, they'll try and intimidate you, they'll do whatever they can to get money out of you. Now, that's something that people really needed to know about. Like, we didn't know that sort of, we had heard little whispers, but nothing as prevalent as what it is over here at the moment. So whether it's because we're all coming off of COVID and people are struggling and they're doing whatever they can, I don't know. I try and play the devil's advocate whenever I can. You know, I say to Sarah that, you know, they're broke. They're probably struggling and they really need money, so they'll do it in any way they can. But it's exhausting. It is absolutely exhausting having people come up to your boat, and it is extortion. And they drive these timber boats, bang, straight into the side of yours. Like, they just don't give a shit. The Papuans are completely different. They are completely different. They will come up to your boat gently, they'll sing out, they won't interrupt, they'll ask permission to tie up, then they'll ask permission to come aboard, which is just a complete contrast. These guys just think because you're in their country, they own your boat. Like, they will literally walk into your cabin. So, you know, I know I'm sounding like I'm having a whinge, but this is just the shit that a lot of the YouTube channels are just put up. Oh, yeah, it's beautiful snorkeling. Oh, they're lovely people, and we're all smiles. It's not always like that. It really isn't. And a lot of the time you're actually battling to keep the money in your wallet. Don't even get me started on immigration. You know, we're heading to Sarong now to try and do our first visa extension. And they tell you, got to have sponsor letters, you got to have this and that. So we organised everything ahead of schedule. We got our sponsor to send our sponsor letters to Immigration, so it was all there ready to go for us, and they rejected it. They wouldn't accept it from the courier. They said, no, you have to send it to an address. So, and I'm trying to explain to them, we're from Australia, we're not from Indonesia, we don't have an address. We don't have an address. The only address we've got is yours at immigration, who you guys require the paperwork. No, can't do it. We won't accept it. This is not right, blah, blah, blah. So we then had to try and find someone to accept our paperwork for us. And I know I sound like I'm just whinging, which is, I hate those people, but these are all things that people need to understand. Before you come to Indonesia, you are going to get, there are going to be people who are going to try and extort you for money. So I just, you know, it's really worth, I guess, understanding that it's not all beer and Skittles over here. Sometimes it can be quite scary and intimidating and really hard to swallow. The bureaucracy and the amount of money we've paid so far, like we're paying thousands of dollars in Australian just to be here with our visas. Like the money they charge is insane. And then we've got to pay $100 per person to go to this national park, then $100 per person to go to this park, and then everywhere you go, like you try and anchor and they want a million rupee. What is it? Komodo, just to go to Komodo Island, which is something we were so desperate to do. They want 500 US per person just to set foot on the beach. And then you got to pay money for snorkeling and it's just, and even yesterday this guy was just saying to me, you're a white person, you owe me money. He was saying it just flat out, you are white, all the white people pay me money. And we're like, no mate, that's not right. We know it's not right, that's illegal what you're doing, you can't do this. He's like, no, you are white. Because you're white, all the white people here, they pay me money. And we're just going, oh my God. So like I said, I slammed the book and I said, fine, get off my boat, we'll leave. We're leaving right now. And then, like I said, once he saw the Panisi come in, it was no problem. It's exhausting and it's so hard to swallow because this place is so beautiful. It is spectacular. Like those islands, look at that in the background. It is just, it's another world. It is completely remote. It's just unbelievable, and you so desperately want to experience it, you want to see it, you want to do the right thing, and we want to trade with the locals, we want to inject money into the economy. But when you are just constantly being hassled and basically robbed, it makes it really hard, a really hard pill to swallow. So, you know, for us, we're going to dig on, we're going to, you know, we're going to push on, we're going to stay here, and we're going to just learn to deal with this as best as we can, because we really want to see the country, and the 50% of Indonesians that are really happy, they almost do make it worthwhile, because oh God, they're just so friendly and beautiful, and they want to get selfies and they want to trade and they just want to see you, and you know, they actually make you feel really good about yourself, which isn't why I'm here. I'm not here for an ego boost, but they're just lovely people. So anyway, we'll push on. But that's my big rant. So if you're considering coming to Indonesia by sailboat, then you need to be aware that this is something that happens regularly. 9 times out of 10 you just have to stand your ground, but I know that there is going to come a point where we are going to have to cop up some cash to get out of a dangerous situation. But you know, as long as you're expecting that, then you know, I guess you can't be disappointed, and you're at least prepared. But you know, all these YouTube channels that come over here and say, oh, it's beautiful, and oh, we go snorkeling, and oh, nothing ever happens. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. So like I said, as long as you're prepared, you can't go wrong. Yeah, anyway, look, that's my rant over. That's me been babbling now for 15 minutes of just absolute shit. So yeah, on to the beautiful stuff. We'll do more of that, more of the pretty stuff. We're going to head into Sarong now and do a big reprovision, which is going to be exciting and terrifying all at the same time, I think. But yeah, look, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to getting the visas and going again for another 2 months and heading north up to the beautiful Wayag Island and Raja AMPAT. So stay tuned. It's going to be pretty spectacular from here on out. And I promise I'll keep the rants down to a minimum. All right, have a good one. There you go, on their legs. Boobs are hanging out. You just doubled our viewers. That's how all the other channels do it, isn't it?